And so that's why I believe that both the Illagers and the villagers created the ancient city together long ago. But that still doesn't explain what happened to the ancient cities and what caused them to be where they are today. So here's what I believed happened to the ancient city. A very long time ago, the villagers and the Illagers worked together and they built the ancient cities. The Illagers were powerful beings and could gather all the raw materials needed to create the buildings. But they needed the help of the villagers, who were less powerful but much more technologically advanced. The villagers could convert these raw materials into the blocks they actually needed for the city. For example, the Illagers could go out and collect clay and give it to the villagers, and they could smelt that clay into bricks, and together that's how they built the ancient cities. As time went on, these cities grew and grew, and until they became the largest structures in the entire game. However, at one point, some villagers were experimenting in secret underneath the central areas of the city when something went wrong. These villagers were experimenting with redstone and the LA, but once they'd given the LA some XP and fused it with some redstone, they had accidentally created the Skulk. And once the Skulk had been created, it was the beginning of the end. Immediately, the Skulk escaped on a search for XP, and at this point it was actively spreading, killing any of the Illagers or villagers that it came across. And since they dropped XP, it allowed the Skulk to continue to grow very quickly. The Skulk even killed and corrupted the ancient city's ex-protector, the Warden, and the Skulk made the Warden turn against its old rulers, which forced both the Illagers and the villagers to evacuate. The Illagers escaped in one large group to the Dark Oak Forest, where they built the Woodland Mansion. Now, as the Illagers were strong, they could build massive mansions, but as they lacked the intelligence that the villagers had, they could only build using simple materials, like cobblestone, planks, and logs. Meanwhile, the villagers spread out in the world in hundreds of different groups, creating hundreds of villages. And while they were all much smaller, they were also far more advanced, as they built mechanical protectors, metallic bells, and complex stones for their buildings. Furthermore, the Illagers would capture any LAs that they could find to stop any future production of Skulk from the villagers and to stop them developing any new technology using the LA. However, the Illagers wanted more revenge on the villagers for destroying their home. So they made thousands of pillager outposts, inspired from their towers from their old home across the land, which forced the villagers to stay sheltered in their villages. This Illager and villager conflict would last indefinitely, as neither side could overcome the other, all while the ancient cities began to crumble and collapse, being consumed by the land around them. And after thousands of generations, the Illagers and villagers slowly forget what they were fighting for, leaving us with the mystery of the ancient city.